Worst nostalgia trip ever taken. Worst nostalgia trip ever taken.
We salute all you out there. Happy 4th of July! Jokey Pants here once again with Cerebral Paul.
Oh, you want me to say something here, don't you? Yeah. Salute, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna celebrate the forming of this here country. At least what's left of it. By the time this airs, the country may be no more. But whatever. We'll celebrate what it once was, the great country, the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully 4th of July goes off fine. I don't know. We're recording this early because I'm ahead. So
Yeah. Just in case, just in case. So
happy 4th of July to all of you back home. We're talking about Uncle Sam from 1996. I have 96, 97 because Amazon says 97, but everywhere else said 96. So I don't.
it might have been
know.
one of those that was produced at a certain point and then didn't actually get released until afterwards.
Very well could have been. There's a few movies that have that issue. So this movie today, this is another one, much like Once Bitten, which we also covered on this show. Never seen it. Watched it literally last night. I was like, I'll have it fresh in my brain, and boy, am I glad I did, because this was a movie. This was a movie.
I will say this is the first movie that he and I have talked about that I pointed him to this movie. I said we need a 4th of July movie, and this is the only 4th of July horror movie that I know about. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was more on point than anything I could have come up with. So we got director William Lustig. Now, Lustig, boy, what a fun history it was to look at this guy. So he's a friend of Sam Raimi. That's a big point to make here. He's credited for Army of Darkness and Darkman, and I had to do a deep dive to figure out why they were listing him, because he's not listed in anything major. Turns out, he's just a good friend of Sam Raimi's, and he was background characters in both those movies, just random people, and that's why he's credited in nothing major. They just says he's in those movies. He's not. Not in a major way. But Uncle Sam was like one of the only times where he actually directed. The other director things that he did were Maniac Cop. And a Maniac
Which I would
Cop.
say is actually Maniac Cop is actually a better movie than Uncle Sam.
I have heard
say
people say that Maniac Cop is a good B slasher kind of thing to go watch, and I was like, I'm tempted, but I also feel like the name alone tells me it's probably going to be really bad.
They got sequels too. Maniac Cop.
I saw. He had a very big Maniac Cop list. Other than this movie, which Uncle Sam, his really only other things he's done is Maniac Cop. Which I haven't seen. I probably have to check those out. I know I'm gonna have to check those out. So,
but by the way, I want you to notice there's a trend here about a demon or somebody coming back for vengeance.
Yeah, I did start to kind of pick up.
Because that's the driving thing with Maniac Cop as well. So yeah, but Maniac Cop does do it better.
He also, to mention why. A reason why this director has a bigger name and knows the people he does. Not only Maniac Cop, but I also found out, because I've only ever seen it one time, I like the remake better. But he also did Maniac, It was like one of his first initial indie horror movies he made. And if you've never seen Maniac, totally understandable. It is so under the fucking radar, nobody's heard of it. Maniac is just a tale about the perspective of a killer chasing people and killing them, and he makes them into mannequins. And like, Maniac is because he is a maniac. It's a whole thing. The remake, much better. If you wanted to see what I mean, I would suggest watching the remake they did with Elijah Wood, because that was a really good remake. I like it way more than the original. Only because the remake, they put it through literally his perspective. So you're just through Elijah Wood's eyes the entire movie, and it gives it an even creepier filter than what the original one did. Anyway, that's what he's for. It is Maniac, and then Maniac Cop, and so on. We also, in this casting, Jesus criminy, we've got Isaac Hayes. Now, you may not recognize Isaac Hayes' name, but he was the voice of Chef for all those years. You got fucking Chef in here, which I was like,
okay, for those of us that are older, you young person, Isaac Hayes was also a big music artist in the 60s and the 70s.
I don't know him as that.
A hell of a singing voice. That's why they used him on Chef before he got pissed off at them because they made fun of his church.
No. He's only Chef on South Park. That's all we know him as. That's all I know him as. You know, actually, fun fact.
That's because you have no culture in you, okay? That's
fun fact with Isaac Hayes and the South Park thing. He didn't actually quit himself. There's actually a fun fact in there that in interviews that came out much later, Isaac Hayes did clarify he did not quit South Park himself. Everything that happened was done without his knowledge. Welcome to Scientology, folks. They'll make that decision for you real quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they made fun of us? You're not allowed to do that anymore. We're going to take care of this for you. And he thought he was fired. He was not fired, and he did not quit. There was something done for him. Also, I couldn't believe this. Robert Forster's in this movie. And last time we saw him on this show is when I covered Alligator, which one of my favorite monster B movies from the 80s is Alligator 2. But he was an alligator as the main character, and I fucking loved him in that. He's not in this one as much, which made me sad. It made me sad he was barely in it, because I was like, I like him. Put more of him in this, because he's a better actor than other people you have in this as characters. There's a bunch of people. There's also William Smith, who's just, when I looked at him, he's been in a little bit of goddamn everything, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. You see, if you look up William Smith and you see his face, and you're in your 30s, somewhere around my age or Paul's age, you've probably seen him somewhere. He's a little bit of everywhere as random things. So anyway, this movie, Uncle Sam. So we open up on a military Humvee that's driving across what they say is Kuwait in June 14th. Boy, it's a real grassy Kuwait. Almost like it's not somewhere that's a desert, but hey, who am I to judge?
You know, are you saying that Canada cannot double for Kuwait? I mean,
No, it cannot. No, it cannot. They drive up to, this is June 14th. They're driving up to a helicopter that's crashed because apparently they say it got hit by friendly fire. They don't know what fully happened, but there's no survivors. Everyone's pretty burned up real bad. There's one of the people. He's going in. He's looking for any identification. I also have in here that William Smith, who's playing like the general, whatever here. This man's voice, I had to put in my notes. He sounds like he's trying to talk while being choked to death. Like, good God. Good God, man.
Friendly fire?
Sergeant, I don't want to hear that crap. These things happen in war. Now get on with it.
But yeah, so they search the crash chopper. They try to find any kind of identification. They find Sam Harper's dog tags, and they go, "Yeah, this is the guy. He's real burnt up. Gonna need to get him out of here." Turns out, somehow, Harper's not dead, and he pulls the guy into him and shoots him a bunch in the chest and goes,
Don't be afraid, it's only friendly fire.
and the bullet also exits out and hits the general. And my good friend Cerebral Paul here, he made the good point. That's not how bullets work. There's no pistol that like they're using there that's going to do that. It's not going to shoot through the shoulder bones, exit through, and be enough to kill another man 10 feet away. It's not how that works.
Don't be afraid. It's only friendly fire.
What the fuck?
I figured it was a handheld howitzer. Is what I
Yeah.
You
know? Oh, so yeah, they're all dead. Harper is cooked extra crispy, but he's apparently alive and kills his own men. I guess maybe
they really
because
don't.
it was
They don't
friendly
explain
fire.
that. They really don't explain it at all. No.
The only explanation, there's a couple times I'm going to say this in this movie because they don't explain it, so I just try to give the best explanation that I fucking can. But I would assume it's because he was killed by friendly fire, so he kills them in friendly fire. Yeah. I guess, but it doesn't make sense for things later on. But anyway, who gives a shit?
Wait, you wanted it to make sense later on. That was your Christmas thing.
Yeah. But yeah, never mind about all that friendly fire. Who gives a shit? Because then we just cut straight to the title. That's music and Uncle Sam footage, and it's so abrupt, and it's.
Hey, that was the Marine Corps anthem. There, they were blasting it.
Well, I wasn't eating crayons, so I didn't understand it.
So I guess I mean, every military movie that they have to play that song. I mean, it must be in the public domain because that shit.
I would assume, which is surprising. You think the military would like take that just to. Anyway, so then after this long, very long title sequence for Uncle Sam. We cut to, it's Twin Rivers, USA. What state? Who gives a shit? Twin Rivers, USA. And it's July 1st. That's all they give you. I don't know. I don't know, folks. God damn it. So yeah, we pan into the house, and we see that there's a child's bedroom. And we find out that this child is Harper's nephew. And on his bedside table is a picture of his uncle, Uncle Sam, telling him to be good and he'll be back, yada yada. I have a note here, pretending to be a cat in your sleep, because the kid just knocks the picture down, and it's meant to be like, oh, he was sleeping. It's like, yeah, his arm's moving real calculated and slow to be an accidental. It's so fucking dumb. So he tries to get off the bed to clean it up, which he immediately steps on the glass, cuts his foot open, and has to go get his mom and be like, Mom, I hurt myself. Also, I had a dream that Uncle Sam's still alive, even though Apparently, I've heard he's dead, even though we don't actually find out he's dead till after this, but okay.
Hey, his Uncle Sam is his hero. He wants to be like his Uncle Sam. A shambling, walking dead corpse. But he doesn't know that.
They have the mom cleans out his cut, does a little thing there. We cut away from them and we see that the town is all decorated for the 4th of July. You got flags everywhere, you got banners, it's all happy fun time. Happy fun time. So, we cut to Mrs. Harper, who's coming back from a date, and she's, by the way, she's on a date with a cop who we find out later also has a daughter and possibly married. So that whole plot thing going on there, I don't fucking understand what they're doing with it.
Nobody cares, okay?
So Mrs. Harper, Louise, she goes in. She's heading back in. She's stopped by a general who informs her, "Hey, we confirmed Sam's dog tags. He's dead. We're gonna be delivering his body." And then I also have the note here of, he literally just kind of gives her the speech of, "Okay, that's so sad. Get over it," and leaves. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're like bedside manner for this poor grieving woman. Like, my God.
Yeah, that whole sequence was really awkward. Like, he really, yeah, we gotta go. We got shit to do here.
Yeah, for real. Cut over to Sergeant Jed, who is our Isaac Hayes, and he was Sam's commander, and they show him complaining about being fat because he's been out of the service and he's been eating too many jelly donuts, not enough working out. And then as he's doing that, he looks at some of the stuff from his time in the war, and he zones off into some PTSD, I guess, which then just cuts into a comic book of an actual soldiers in war going on. And I was like, what a weird fade cut that they did here.
It saved them money from having to do recreation. Let's just draw in the comic books.
Sure. So the nephew Jody, he's reading the comic book, and everyone's his mom Sally, she's getting ready for the day. Luis is there, and she's talking about, yeah, the general stopped by. They're going to be delivering his body, and I don't really want it. Do you want it? I don't understand this movie's plot premising thing. Like,
what are they? Are they like, it's going to be delivered to the house, right? I don't understand that shit, but
yeah, it's like, why is she staying with the sister?
Somebody's got to be home to decide for it. What the hell, really?
Yeah, and so Mrs. Harper Louise, she doesn't. She's like very torn about what to do with the body. Like, they're not really telling you they have issues with Sam. We'll get into it at some point in this movie, that they have many issues with Sam, and it's just awkward. But Jody, on the other hand, the little boy, he just wants to bury his uncle, but he also wants his uncle to be alive because,
his uncle is his hero.
Yes.
From a child's point of view, regardless of what the adults feel about him, to Jody, his uncle was his hero.
Yes. And Jody's also given his uncle's medals and his awards, things like that, which he enjoys. He loves it. He takes it to school with him. And at school, they're discussing what happened to his uncle, and they talk about possibly friendly fire, and then that sparks like an argument with the kids of how that could happen. And the teacher, this poor man, he's trying to just have a genuine conversation with these kids about war and how things worked. And then they ask him if he served, and he brings up if he was around during Vietnam, and that no, he did not serve. And they get into a whole discussion about how people protested the war, and some people left the country instead of being in the war. And Jody straight up just calls this man a pussy because he didn't fight in Vietnam. Backfires on this teacher so quickly.
Well, I grew up during Vietnam, and many people thought that was an unjust war. Many young people, like myself, protested the war. In fact, some people left the country for a while.
Ran away?
It was a very difficult thing to do, Jody. But you have to understand, those who left the country felt it was a lesser evil than blindly following orders they knew were wrong.
My Uncle Sam said you guys were cowards.
Okay. Please, just take your...
But Jody's like, no, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying my uncle would have said you are. I'm not saying you are, kind of. And
But
the
you
teacher
are,
just feels
but
really
no.
bad. Yeah, teacher just immediately feels like a piece of shit. He's just like, all right, well, fuck me trying to have a conversation with you kids. Like, and that cuts into the funeral. The funeral that's going to be going on. We get a military man who shows up. He's talking to Jody about I knew your uncle, and he's talking to his mom about, we're gonna bury him. Is there anything you need? By the way, the guy who is this particular military officer, I only know him from one other thing, and Cerebral Paul might not know this, which is fair. It's a movie that I feel like many people avoid watching. I only know him from Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
No, I've seen the movie. I have no memory of it per se, outside of the big fat chick going, "Did you say steak?" Other than that, I got.
So the creepy military man in this movie, because he hits on Sally like there's no tomorrow, and it's super creepy. In Deuce Bigalow, he plays a federal agent who's trying to get the Gigolo network thing, whatever. But every time he meets Deuce, he always pulls his dick out, and it's a whole thing about like, look at it, it's like a little piece of spaghetti string right there. What is that? What is wrong with it? And as I see this man in this movie, I immediately went, please don't flash the kid. He doesn't understand what you're about to ask him. It's like, I only know him from that, so I hate that he's a creep in this movie because it still fits the same plot.
I bet you are. You make me sick. You're gonna stand there and tell me that gigantic woman didn't just pay you to have sex with her? No. Well, let me tell you something, mister. I could sleep at night because I make a decent, God-fearing, honest living.
I'm sure you do, but there's nothing I can tell you.
Well, I think there is. What do you think of this? You think I can get anything for it? Money?
I don't know.
Yeah, you think I'm a loser, don't you?
No, I don't.
Well, maybe I am a loser, but I'm a loser who can bust your ass.
Fucking thing.
Yeah, but not the kind of way you want to be typecast, probably. But whatever.
No, I don't think that's the way you'd want to be. Yeah, hitting on grieving sister. That happens a lot. This dude just continues to hammer home, if you need anything, I'm only down the road. I'm like, dude, Jesus Christ, like, not the time, my guy. So yeah, and then it cuts from there. By the way, it goes from there. It goes to this dude's hotel room where he's on the phone. Once again, just being creepy about the sister. And I literally have the note of, did we really need this scene? Did we really need it? It's just this dude being creepy? Why? Why are we cutting to this man? Oh. So anyway, they go back to the house, and Sally's having dinner with her boyfriend, Ralph. who's kind of a douche. No, not gonna sugarcoat it. He's kind of a douche.
Everybody in that town is kind of a douche, and as they get to the parade, you'll learn that.
Well, that's fair. So Ralph discusses with Jody about like being shady with taxes and business stuff, and I just sat there the whole time going, what is this movie doing? What is happening to this movie? Jody gets real mad because Ralph gets into a whole discussion about that being a soldier in Desert Storm is wrong, and this is stupid, and why even be whatever. And Jody argues with him because his Uncle Sam's his hero, so to him, nothing he did was ever wrong. It's a whole thing. And Jody ends up going to bed. Ralph tries to get lucky with Sally, and Sally's like, there's literally a dead body like 20 feet away from us. No. And I went, fair?
Again, mind you, it was delivered not to the funeral home, not to...
to his sister. Don't know why.
It's in it. He is laying there probably in the living room. Dead as,
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think they're Irish. They didn't do the Irish wake thing. They didn't do the
No.
sitting,
No.
give a thing. No, it was just there. It was.
And we cut from here. We see, we see Jody sneaks downstairs after he's looking through his uncle's stuff, and he wants to put the medals back onto Sam because he feels that he earned his medals, so he should be buried with them. Which, I mean, that's fair. That's I'll give you props, kid. You were trying to do an honorable thing of buried with the honors that he earned in his or. You know what? No, I'm not even gonna say earn. Jody, I'm sorry. He didn't earn anything there. Nobody knows that your uncle was a murdering psychopath because everyone was fucking dead. I'm sorry to break your bubble, kid. Oh. So he tries to open up the coffin really badly. Like, he sets everything on the lid, and then it's like, I can't open it. And it's like, yeah, there's no fucking shit. No fucking shit, you can't open it. Jesus Christ, kid. So anyway, he can't get it open, so he goes back to bed, reads some letters. Jed stops by the next day, and he pays his respects and shows Jody his fake leg, and they have a whole discussion about his uncle. About how he got him in the war, and, he loves his uncle, and Jody wants to join a branch as well. What branch should he join? And then Jed gives him this very serious talk of never, ever, ever join the military because it's not a fun time. It's nothing about it is fun. Just don't do it. Don't do it. No. Which fair. Fair. I mean, I could say living with Sergeant Redacted, unless you enjoy working, 14-hour days, 6 days a week, and vacation is, what's that word? Maybe it's not the life for you. Just saying. I see my best friend here work himself to death. And just military is not a fun life. You're non-stop go. So Jody gets this whole talk. He's still not convinced. He still thinks that his uncle was an alright guy. So then Jed is just straight up like, he was a fucking psychopath. He enjoyed killing for killing. He didn't do it because he was told. And I was like, hey, one way to shatter a kid's... Jesus, man.
Like you. He was an angry kid. He had to get it out of his system. I remember I took him hunting once, and it scared me. You see, he liked killing.
Isn't that what makes a hero?
Let me tell you something. There are no heroes Only crazy men who lose their mind in the middle of a battle. Every sane person's got his head down, trying to stay alive. But one lunatic runs out there, out of control, crazy full of hate, and if by some miracle he doesn't die, they pin a ribbon on him and send him home and tell him never to be crazy again.
Yeah, probably not something you need to.
Yeah, just Sam had issues. That's what my note was.
You know, because
all you had to say.
Jody's got to be what, like 13 or 14. This is not something you should be telling a 13 or 14-year-old kid. This is not a discussion to have with a child. Maybe when they're a little older, you know.
So Jody goes back inside, and Ralph once again is discussing the issues politically with wars and why Operation Sandstorm, Desert Storm was why Desert Storm was not what it should have been, which is okay to have these kind of discussions if you're behind closed doors, and you're not, I repeat, not at a soldier's fucking funeral.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have that discussion.
No, because at a real soldier's funeral, there would be other soldiers there. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
good
just
way to
don't
get
talk
your ass
about it.
handed to you.
Yeah. Maybe don't say to the whole room that, man, he died for no reason anyway. Maybe just don't. Maybe don't be that guy.
In front of the family and stuff, especially. Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Which brings up a whole nother fucking issue I have here. Because Jody gets mad. Understandably gets upset at Ralph. Sally, his mother, on the other hand, shushes the poor boy and fucking grounds him for the weekend. And I sat there going, even if you and your brother had your differences, the man blatantly is disrespecting his name. Like, there should be some kind of line being crossed here.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean you defend him over your kid? What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Whether you agreed with the war and the situation or not, that's not the time to.
Not the time. Not the time. So he gets grounded. He goes upstairs. He does this thing, and we cut to that night. This is where the movie takes a turn for me, to where I was like, okay, it's not. Up until this point, I was like, it's not the worst B movie I've ever seen. It could be worse, but okay.
Okay, see, that's your mistake. You had that thought in your head, and the movie said, hold my beer.
Yeah, the movie decided it could get way worse. So we cut to a graveyard where there's just there's a couple punks defacing the soldier graves. I don't understand.
And deciding, hey, let's light a flag on fire, which I really out of nowhere.
Yeah, they
in the middle
just
of the
started
night.
burning a flag. Yeah, like I could get like protesting the war or doing something, but like all of this just seems unnecessary.
In the middle of the dark, empty graveyard, whirling the burning flag around their head like it's like, okay, party,
Yeah, no,
I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand these kids. Like, I don't get why they're doing this. But also, but here's why I have an issue. They don't clarify how the fuck Uncle Sam works in this movie. He doesn't have motivations where you're like, he does it because of this. It's not for the reasons you think, because there's a couple things that happen in this movie where I'm like, that doesn't even fucking match up to what I thought he was doing it for. As the flag burns, Sam comes to life.
I'm still not clear why he was doing it at any point.
No.
And why he was mad at the people he was mad at. He was mad at his ex-wife. He was,
Yeah, nothing about this movie will make sense to you. No. So as the flag's burning, Sam comes back to life, and my only reason here is because Murica. Because there's nothing that brings him back. He just does it. The fuck?
He's mad because they're disrespecting the flag and they're disrespecting America.
No, he's in a coffin on the other side of town.
I mean, if you really look at it, the whole movie was basically an anti-war message. Really, seriously, up to that, you know.
It was trying to be.
Yeah.
It was trying to be.
You get that idea out of your head right now, boy. Things ain't like they used to be when we knew who and what we were fighting for. Hitler and Tojo and Mussolini. We knew what we had to do and why. Today is all mixed up. Nobody knows the whys and wherefores, Sonny. A smart boy like you ought to know enough to keep out of it. Be a doctor. Save some lives. Forget about killing.
Somebody's got to be soldiers.
You don't want to get sent back in a box.
Maybe it's better than dying in bed. Everybody dies anyway.
So this next sequence of events, I don't get it. So Sam somehow not only opens his coffin, he also gets his medals back from his nephew, which, by the way, he put in an ammo case and slid it under his bed. If you don't know what like an ammo case that I'm talking about is, it's a rectangular box that has a little latch, and it's very loud. I have one. It's very fucking loud to unbuckle and move and open. He somehow does this.
I used to use one as a emergency first aid kit for part of my storm kit because they're airtight when they're sealed shut.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no sneaking into that thing.
Yeah, somehow he gets there.
And this isn't the only movie I do this with, but a lot of movies like Halloween or Friday the 13th. How does the guy that's basically a walking, rotting corpse or somebody who hasn't bathed in 40 years sneak around anywhere? Okay, I'll just...
Thank you. Thank you. I have that note as well.
Then somebody goes, what the hell? What is that smell?
Yeah.
How do you sneak up on anybody smelling like a rat?
Not only is this man somehow get his medals to put on his body without waking anyone up. Yeah, he's also a burned walking goddamn corpse. And no one smells anything the whole movie.
I'd be waking up going, I have a craving for barbecue. What the hell?
I'm not making toast.
It smells like Texas in here. What the fuck? Who's smoking beef?
I also have there's so many things in this fucking movie. So he does that. He also creepily creepily watches his wife sleep, and I again was like, the smell of his burned body alone should wake you from whatever sleep you're in. That is the smell of pure death. It's horrible. But don't worry, everyone, because they're not gonna linger on that. Because we go from here, we get Uncle Sam, and you're like, oh man. Now, in my brain watching this, I went, that doesn't make sense. If that's supposed to be him, how? Because Ralph talks about he bought a costume, but specifically that he bought Abe Lincoln. So, what happened? Oh, silly me. Silly me jumping to conclusions, thinking that's him. No, silly, we gotta explain how he gets the Uncle Sam outfit. As we see, Uncle Sam on stilts is a peeping Tom. And he runs away into town. into the park, where he's found by Sam, who chases him. This stupid bastard. He runs into a tree limb and gets knocked out, falls down, and then proceeds to just not fight back at all as Burned Man approaches him with hedge trimmers.
Apparently he can't get out of the stilts, which I couldn't figure out. You're just laying there. What the fuck, dude? You know.
The stilts, maybe. I've seen watching Jackass all these years.
He could have been buckled into him. To be fair, he could have been.
Yeah, there might have been a bug, but he could have raised up your hands. You could have swung at the guy. You could have done anything other than just lay there. Anything. Could have done anything else. But yeah, Sam kills him with hedge trimmers, and he makes one-liners all with like just about everyone he kills. And on this one we get, "Hope you get an eyeful," before it cuts away. It's just like, why?
Still better one-liners than that other movie you had me watch. So.
No, what are you talking about? Nah. Nah, never. Never.
No, I'm trying to remember. In your notes, do you have the order of which we learn about the teens and the hit and run bandit, the guy who likes to run over kids just for the fuck of it?
No, I completely missed that in my notes.
Yeah.
Shit.
Apparently, we also have a group of teenagers who like to plow down, anybody they can, and for points. Wasn't that this movie? I think that was this movie. Yeah.
If it is, I completely missed that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately.
I don't know if that one was in this movie. They were probably. Well, I don't know about that one.
I could have swore it was, because that would explain.
That sounds like. That almost sounds like Hobo with a Shotgun. Like the guys.
No, it wasn't that, because I haven't watched that in years.
That's the only one I can think of with people that run people over and like enjoyment.
No, it was just one group of kids, and they show them mow over a kid with a bike and then back over him to squish his head because he was still moving. They get all the points.
You know what? I've actually that scene. I have seen that scene. Yeah, no, what fucking?
Yeah,
I know what movie you're talking about. I've seen it.
I could have swore that that was this movie. I thought.
If it wasn't this movie, I missed it. But I've seen that scene. I do know what you're talking about. I've seen whatever movie that is, and I don't think it was this one.
Pretty sure that was this movie because that's something I watched
maybe
today. So.
Maybe it was, and I just missed it.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam takes he kills Uncle Sam. He takes his outfit. He also even cuts the legs shorter so that they fit him.
Yeah, because they were 10 foot still. So yeah.
So he finds the punks, the teen punks from earlier, and he spray cans the shit out of one of them, who goes off to pee drunk, and drags him away to take care of him. And you may be asking, well, how does Uncle Sam, does he just use the garden trimmers again? No, this kid, he wraps him up around the neck and then hangs him like he's an American flag and leaves him. And you'd be surprised to know that no one finds him till much later than you'd think anyone would have found him. So then we cut over to the other two friends who are leaving the graveyard, and they're like, he's too drunk, he'll find his way home, blah, 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 he's fine. Yeah, no, because one of the friends decides, I'm gonna go back and find him. Like, don't wait up for me. And then he has the dumbest fucking death I've ever fucking seen. Dumbest goddamn death. He gets thrown in an open grave. And now, maybe I just missed what was going on, but it didn't seem like his legs were broken, yet he just refuses to stand up while Uncle Sam buries him alive.
He somehow got a compound fracture. They did show that. I'm not sure how he got that compound fracture.
See, I missed. I was writing the note. Completely missed if there was any show of that, because then I just saw his legs looked normal and him just grabbing the walls, and I was like,
"No, they did a close up. They did a close up of a compound fracture of one of his legs. Don't know how he got it because it.
Yeah, so that was a blink and you missed it, and kind of like I must have been writing my note and completely missed that they showed that little. Yeah, because in my mind I was sitting there and I'm like, this is the dumbest death I've ever seen. I'm like, the fuck do you mean you're gonna be buried? Just fucking do something. What are you doing?
Every time somebody gets buried in the grave, though, they have trouble climbing up the wall. That's a horror movie trope.
That is a horror movie trope. Uncle Sam buries him and then tells him have a good rest. And I was just like, what? Why is this the thing we keep fucking doing? Like, I can't with this movie and some of its things here. He tells him good night, and then the next he puts flagpole buried, and nobody finds his kids. The other guy just ends up the other guy ends up leaving, and he's just like, I don't know who everybody is. I'm too fucking stupid to. I don't know, look at the goddamn flagpole that's here. Like my friend hanging from it that somebody finds later. I don't know how the third dude missed that one, but okay. And the next day, it's the 4th of July celebration, and they're doing their parade pageant. And the teacher's getting everything all ready, except the one kid is missing his hatchet. I want to say to all
these people keep misplacing their tools. Okay, this happens like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yes, I have notes every time of this over elaborate little tangent to lead to how Sam got weapon. It's just, god damn it. For all of you people out there, this fucking kid, the teacher goes, all right, I'll go back into the classroom and I'll find your hatchet. Now I'm thinking, it's a parade, it's little kids. They're like 12, 13, like they're little kids. It's gotta be like a fake hatchet, right? It's a real metal fucking hatchet. Who the fuck gives that to children is beyond me.
Small town America, man. But I don't see what your problem is.
I mean, I grew up in a small town. As much as we were used guns and we used axes at that age, it was always under the permission and using it for what it was for. Whereas you're just giving it to the kid, first of all, the kid who won't put the fucking soda down. He's a little douchebag. Also, moving float parade. You're not putting anything on it, so it's just a sharp hatchet. There's so many things that can go wrong there. My brain goes a million miles a minute. There's so many things that could go wrong. Don't do that. At least put the protective sheath on it so then the kid can't just accidentally stab or cut himself, because kids are stupid and that's what they'll do. Anyway, Uncle Sam doesn't give a fuck the kid needs his hatchet because he buries it into the teacher's forehead, and that's all it was used for. And Paul is correct. They will do this like 2-3 more times where he just does a random thing to get one kill, and then that's it.
He wasn't that well organized. He really wasn't. I mean, there had to be a hardware store. I mean, did he not watch Halloween? Did he not watch Halloween 15 years before? Michael told him, break into the hardware store.
No.
Gather some weapons. You're good to go.
No. We also see that Jed's cleaning out an old cannon, which my immediate note was, all right, who's dying by the fucking cannon? Because that's clearly going to be used, and I wasn't prepared for how it does later. was not prepared.
Because it was not realistic, and we'll get into that later.
I also had the note here of, why is there a random burn victim blind kid?
Yeah,
'Cause they cut over
I've
to
watched
this
this movie
kid,
a
and I'm
couple
like,
of times, and I can't,
he's not. He's kind of important towards the end, but
and
it
it must be relatively.
forced.
And I don't remember because I admit I wasn't paying that much attention, but it must be a relatively recent injury because his parents are real big on he's still recovering, and and Jody keeps going, "Hey, it's me, Jody. It's your friend Jody," and like,
there's
oh shit.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. There wasn't anything to explain this kid. There must be something on the cutting room floor that they had that they didn't put in here that explains it. Because when this kid, they go to the 4th of July celebration. And by the way, the kid's name's Barry. I had to look this up because I kept missing his fucking name. And then, fun fact, if you look up the plot synopsis for this movie, they only mention that his name is Barry towards the end because, fun fact, he wasn't fucking important to the movie, so nobody writes his name in any of the things. So, like, I had to really look to figure out who he was. Anyway, so at the celebration for 4th of July, Jody tries being nice to Barry and talking about playing with him. This is where there has to be a scene that happened at some point that they removed, because the mother brings up that what happened to him was because of his friends and that he didn't want him hanging out with Jody. And I went, so is he like a firework accident kid? Like, where's the thing to explain any of this that just happened? Because it has no explanation. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse.
It gets much worse. So that happens. And Jody's like, I was just trying to be nice. Like, what the fuck? The dad appreciates it, where the dad does give him a little pat of like, thank you for trying to be nice to my son. Ceremony starts. It had a random cut in it of what seemed like Sam killing somebody, but it was a flashed 5-second on the screen, and it caught my attention to where I went, what the fuck was that? And why?
Now I'd like to welcome you all here today to our glorious 4th of July celebration. But before I introduce Congressman Cummings and all our entertainers, we're going to have the national anthem sung by young Jesse Colburn. So Jesse, why don't you come on up here?
Well, Rick and Cleet, this is for you guys. Miss Brasher. Oh, son, can you see by the dawn's early light what's so profound? They will at the twilight last gleam.
But that doesn't matter, because it immediately starts with a teenager who does randomly really, really bad singing of the national anthem, and I don't...
And he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. He was being a dick, okay? Because he starts doing the screamo thing, and he drops his pants. Basically, I think that was like Roseanne Barr did. Remember what Roseanne Barr did at the and her and Tom Arnold then showed the full moon over Miami. It's
So Uncle Sam, he's randomly, well, I guess not randomly, but he's at the 4th of July celebration, and you're probably asking yourself, who's he gonna kill? Well, that's a fun question. He's not going to kill anybody for the next, 10-15 minutes as we go through this celebration, because there's extra plot devices that they added in here that don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
First of all, nobody smells the burned corpse. I'm gonna keep bringing it up. How does no one smell this man's burning flesh as he walks by them? He's not wearing anything but a simple Sam outfit. Like, come on now.
Picnic. Hey, I'm telling you, 4th of July picnic, a lot of barbecues going. You know,
I don't think it. So not only this, Jed and Ralph are talking, and Ralph brings up, once again, just being a dick about things. He brings up that no one knows the actual words of the Star Spangled Banner unless you really think about it. And then Jed's like, I was in the army, like, I know the song. He's like, nobody knows the song. I bet you can't even say it without having to think about the lyrics. And I went, yeah, that's typically how singing a thing works. Typically, you have to think of it to whatever, dude. Jed gets pissed off.
And nobody knows the Star Spangled Banner. I mean, yeah, well, especially in a town that seems to be going all out for the 4th of July thing. I mean,
but Jed, for good reason, gets mad at him, and he takes off. But he bumps into Uncle Sam. Ooh! Jed bumps into Uncle Sam. Not only would you have had to smell the man's body, you see he has abnormally green, gooey looking eyes. And you later talk about he gave you the feeling of pure death that you only felt in the war, but you didn't feel the need to tell anybody about it. You just acted like nothing happened. The fuck, my guy. Actual fuck. Side story number 2 of how does Uncle Sam get another weapon? Fun question we're about to answer. So the daughter of the cop that we saw before flirting with Louise, she's sneaking off to smoke a joint, and her dad catches her, who's a cop, so he tells her, no, go back and do the cooking. This takes way too long. So she does. She gets back to the smoker. She pulls out meat and immediately goes, where's my cleaver? That's all it was needed for. It was only needed to say that Uncle Sam now has a meat cleaver. 5 minutes of unneeded anything for one simple goddamn thing. Sack race!
The world's stupidest sack race, by the way.
The worst. It's supposed to be that you hop all the way to, start to finish. The douchebag punky kid we saw from earlier who survived, unlike his other 2 friends, he's of course cheating. He's basically just half-assedly running inside of his sack while also shoving everyone around him to the ground. I do have a
yelling, watch out.
Yeah. They give him the most evil music they could have possibly given him for every time he does that, to where I started to go, is he the killer? Is he Uncle Sam? Because that's like Uncle Sam killing music, and he's just pushing people down to win a race. What is happening?
He's just being a complete asshole.
He ends up tripping. He falls down a hill, rolls down, which is fine.
By the way, I want you to notice that was one hell of a hill. That was that Paul Rudd movie scene that he always shows with the kid in the wheelchair slam down. That was. I mean, there's no way, because he was in a sack and he couldn't use his hands. There's no way he didn't get some cranial damage.
He got hurt.
Kudos to the stuntman, seriously, dudes. Kudos to the.
Yeah, for this movie, you did more than you were paid for. I almost see it now. So he gets down to the bottom of this hill, and he runs into Uncle Sam, and apparently this is a lemon orchard? Where is this movie taking place? Where are we? It just says Twin Rivers, but like, where are we? There's been no mention of anything tropically citrus at all, and then there's just a random lemon orchard. I don't get it.
I have to assume that because I know the area that it had to be done in Southern California somewhere.
Okay.
But where, I don't know. But
yeah. But yeah, so Uncle Sam starts following him, and he's all like, "Get away from me, creep, blah, blah, and what are you looking at?" And then Sam cuts his head off, and it's one of the only kills, because there's only a handful of them that they don't immediately cut away from. But they actually have a severed head. It doesn't look the best, but it's the only time I'm going to give them credit of like, thank God you actually did a practical thing that you showed, and you didn't just cut away to some random bullshit. For the love of God. So after this, you may be asking yourself, oh my God, haven't they found any of the bodies of all of the fucking people he's killed so far? Good question. So with that, Uncle Sam starts to spy on his wife, who he catches with Ralph, not Ralph, but with the cop. And she doesn't know he's there, obviously, but he's spying. Meanwhile, Sally goes to check on Ralph, and turns out Ralph went to go sit in his chair that he was on for the parade, and Uncle Sam shot him while there was music playing, is the explanation that they give, that no one heard the shot happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she like nudges him to get his attention. He falls, he dies, falls down. This is where we also get Robert Forrester. Fucking finally see this man. I enjoy this man. I'm really sad he had such a small thing with this. But he's the senator who's come down to like see the festivities and give his blessings to, because Sam's grave and whatnot. And Jed has the conversation earlier about that he's supposedly a war hero, but Jed's like, he didn't really do anything. He's just kind of like was on the sideline and then got sent home. So I don't really think he counts as a war hero. But yeah, now there's a murder, so now they have to investigate it. And then on top of that murder, they also now finally find the other goddamn bodies that have been sitting around all day at this point, and God knows what kind of weather. Yeah, so everybody just starts finding all of his kills, and like I don't understand. Sorry, there's one thing I know I'm forgetting it in here. Oh yeah, when he's spying on the wife. Did we touch on that he talks to the blind kid? It's the only important reason.
That's what I wanted to point out is, and somehow Danny to the blind kid's like, who are you? You know who I am. The fuck?
It's this side. They don't have motivation for Uncle Sam, and they've given him another motivation of why he does what he does, and I'm like, pick a fucking lane for this character. I don't understand.
Who is it? Who are you?
I'm here to do what you want me to.
What do you mean?
I'll make them all feel your pain.
What is your name?
Even in darkness, you can see me better than those with eyes. You know me.
He resurrected because people were disrespecting America, and it's like, okay, sure. Uncle Sam, sure. But yeah, he meets up with the fucking blind kid and just rubs his face. The kid has no idea who this is, and just in the creepiest, breathiest voice starts telling him that in the darkness all things are seen, and that I see you, and I'm doing this for you. And I'm just like, what? What's happening?
And I gotta say, when he actually said the dialogue, I'm saying, so you've been watching this kid in the dark. That is just
That's the creepiest shit.
Big extra level creepy. I've been watching what you've been doing. Holy shit. When I was, teenage boy, you're watching what I'm doing in the dark.
It just, that scene makes no fucking sense at all. It's like they forgot to give a reason why the blind kid is important to the overall story. They're like, I don't know, add this in here. Maybe Uncle Sam feels he owes him something. And I'm like, but that doesn't make any fucking sense.
And if anything, the blind kid should be the one going, smells like burnt chicken out here, man.
Yes. Yes. Yes, he should. So yeah, Barry, our blind kid here, he tells Jody that Uncle Sam is his Uncle Sam. And that he doesn't know how, but he knows it's him. And they tell Jed. And Jed immediately goes, no, that's crazy talk. Until they're like, no, seriously. And, oh, that's right, I have the note here. Uncle Sam has PTSD stare? Not much unlike a Ghost Rider penance stare. Because apparently staring at Jed was immediately reliving the war. So, like, I don't know what kind of power that is, but... okay, that's fun. It's just... but again, also, as I mentioned before, Jed had all these feelings with this Uncle Sam, but didn't tell anybody. He just kept it to himself that this guy is not good. Yeah. He probably could have saved some lives, but hey. Jed and Jody, they go check the coffin because Jed wants to prove Jody wrong, that his uncle possibly can't be back. It's not Sam in the coffin, though. We see that it's the pervy sergeant from earlier that Sam killed at some point, and they didn't show that they killed him. He just killed him at some point and replaced him. Bit of one... there's an error I have with this movie is when the fuck did he kill that guy and bring him to the house and nobody noticed? When did that happen? Then they go to leave because Jed's like, yeah, we're gonna figure out how to take care of this and we're gonna have to warn people. But they get caught by Jody's mom, Sally, and she's all like, you guys, what are you doing? And Jed tries to explain it, not fucking really. He just tells her to watch the kids, call the police. He's gonna go check on Lori there, make sure she's okay. So yeah, he goes to Sam's house, and of course Jody doesn't listen, and Jody follows him. Walks in, and then almost gets attacked by Mrs. Harper, who then is like, yeah, I don't know, there's a killer going around, and like, I'm terrified. And he's just like, understandable. I'm a man with a loaded gun who just walked into your house unannounced. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, he hands her his service revolver, and he's like, I'm gonna go call 911. If you see anything, shoot it. And he does. So he goes in, he gets 911. He's so happy. He's gonna get the whole backup here.
Somebody answer the damn...
Take a good look at me, soldier. You made me into this.
Until he notices the Uncle Sam mask sitting on the counter and realizes, oh no, Sam's already beaten me here. Him and Jed talk, kinda. He tells Jed to get a good look at me, soldier, and that he did it to him, and then Jed argues back that basically that he deserved to die the way he did because he was a monster of a human being. He didn't follow orders, and he just killed for enjoying killing, and he doesn't feel bad. So Uncle Sam, throws him through a wall, which defies the layout of this house. Absolutely defies.
I missed that one, but
So he walks through a door, right? So he goes through. It's like one of those little flop doors, right? Now, the phone is on the side of the flop door,
right.
And Sam comes up behind him, and now in front of him is just all cabinets. But when he throws Jed, he's like, if the door is here, he's off to the side and comes through like some shelving, and I went, so did Sam drag him through the door and then purposely go off to the left to throw him through that? It's like, there's a whole fucking wall and cabinets there. You didn't... What? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so he does that, and then Uncle Sam, comes out and greets his wife, and his wife's horrified. She unloads the gun on him, which does nothing. And he talks about
and I don't think it was the burn thing. I think he had put on some Axe body spray and she couldn't stand that shit. I mean, he must.
Ouch. He wasn't wearing the perfume that she gave him. She was real upset.
That's right. Wait, this was the early mid-90s, so it would have been Polo. Yeah. It would have been.
Yeah.
Which that stuff was rank.
Yeah. Yeah, she unloads the gun on him. Nothing happens. Jed and Jody get the idea of how they could deal with Sam because guns aren't doing anything. That there's the old cannon down in town. That's how we'll do it. Jody has a heart-to-heart with Sam to distract him, while Jed goes and gets the cannon all situated onto his truck that he'll bring back, and they're going to use it.
Another issue here. Have you ever tried to move a cannon? Have you ever actually been around an actual old-school cannon?
They're not light. They're not light at all.
This is not a one-man job.
No, it's not. It's not. Jed does it though. He's just that good. He had.
All right, children, help me move the cannon. Yeah, well, I think he used the kid in the wheelchair as a tow truck. He said, "Here, we'll just pull this behind you."
But I have no legs. Use your back. Come on now. But Jody, back at the house, Jody's having a conversation with his uncle, and he's talking about how he wanted to be like him, and Uncle Sam tells him, well, to do that, you'd have to be dead. Are you volunteering? And it's a whole thing. They have a whole thing. I also forgot to mention, right before all this happened, Jody also got told that his uncle was a bad guy by his mom and his aunt, and it's an awkward scene of just explaining to a kid that he was abusive and killed animals for no reason, and that he joining the military was a good thing. It's a whole thing that's just I could have done without that scene. But yeah, so that happens, and Jody leads Uncle Sam back outside, and he basically convinces Uncle Sam. He's like, I'll go with you, and I'll be just like you. We'll be exactly the way you want things to be. We'll go get my mom right now. Gets outside. Jed and Barry are both like, the fuck's wrong with you? Like, what do you mean? You've gone crazy. Of course, that's just a distraction, silly viewer, because Jody immediately dodges out of the way so that they can shoot his ass.
Well, because the little blind kid did say he thinks we're on his side earlier.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yes.
This was some kind of concocted plan by the child.
So me and Paul talked about this before the show, that this isn't how cannonballs work.
Not at all.
The cannonball hits the porch and explodes into a fireball. That's not how cannonballs work. They don't explode. They don't explode. They just go boom boom and they take things out. But they don't explode.
It's like getting hit with a 50-pound piece of buckshot. Okay.
Yeah. 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 But he doesn't die because it's not a real cannonball because it exploded. Anyway, so Sam's on fire. He starts walking towards Jody. He's going to get his nephew. But don't worry, because Jed just has to fight with his lighter apparently way too many times to get it to light. But then don't worry, Jody, we're going to save you.
Zippo lighters never work the way you want them to, ever, in a movie. I mean...
I also love that Jed, like, he lights the fuse on the cannon, and I'm immediately like, oh yes, don't worry, Jody, we'll save you in about 5 minutes when this cannon fuse lights. Just keep him
cannon
busy.
Fuse took forever to burn down.
What the fuck?
Holy shit. I was like, no. I've seen this. I've seen them reenact this shit.
well,
Those things burn a lot faster than that.
So they fire again. They hit Uncle Sam, send him into the house, which again, it's not how cannonballs work at this point, but whatever. It only works the way a cannonball should work in the beginning, because the minute he's in the house, it again explodes into a fucking warhead-style whole house explodes. And I'm like, did they hit a gas line? What the hell just happened?
By the way, I actually saw on IMDb, they didn't tell the neighboring area about the explosions, and apparently... Yeah, like a lot of other movies have made that mistake. Yeah, you always want to tell the surrounding area when you're going to be blowing shit up in the middle of the night.
Of course they wouldn't with this bad movie. They were just shooting it, getting it done. Meanwhile, everyone's having a heart attack.
That's one of them. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, it's, because they probably knew they would never get permission to do it, so fuck it.
Much like our last movie, this movie also just ends so goddamn abruptly. It cuts from the house exploding and all this fire. We cut to Jody. And Jody is burning all of his army figures. He's burning everything they had to do with the military because he's done with that. He doesn't want to be like his uncle anymore. He got the bad medicine about it. So Jody's taking care of everything, and his mom's watching him. By the way, no one cares that the house blew up. No one gives a shit. Everyone has just moved on. I don't care. I'm saying this is the next day.
All the
Everyone
family
moved
mementos, all that shit. Nobody.
Yeah, Sally's just at her new house, just like, yeah, oh well, my sister's house blew up. What are you gonna do when your husband comes back from the dead? Oh well. But anyway, Sally, his mom, she's real happy to see Jody's not going to be joining the military. He doesn't idolize Sam anymore. Makes her real happy. And then this
By the way, real quick, I want to point out after that explosion, not just their house was damaged. I can guarantee you the neighbors' houses were all blown up. Shit, too.
100%.
I mean, when you go watch this film, if you are stupid enough to go watch the size of that explosion and realize they probably took out a good half a block. Okay.
There's a lot wrong with it. God. So the ending to this movie, they do the worst thing you could possibly do. The camera zooms into Jody's face and he grins at the camera to where it freeze frames. And that's not bad enough to allude to, like, he's gonna become the next Uncle Sam, which I pray to God that never actually happened. The screen shatters like it's made of glass, but it's like the worst fucking effect for it. Like, they did not have a way to do it, and it does not look good. Personal opinion, I don't make the best things ever, but I'm smart enough to not do things that I know I can't do. If you can't do the shattered glass screen shit, maybe just don't put it in your movie, because it also just doesn't make sense. God damn it. This movie. Well, happy 4th of July.
He used the same effect for Maniac Cop, by the way, at some point. So, give you something to look forward to.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, happy 4th of July to all of you out there. Don't watch this. Watch anything but this to celebrate your holiday. To all of you out there, you know, if you're in the military, much like Sergeant Redacted is where he is right now, he's at work. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you do for us. We appreciate you. And to all of you, stay out, stay happy. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there with all the fireworks and whatnot you might be doing. Stay out of the woods. Don't dump chemicals in the sewers. Stay out of the water. Don't piss off hillbillies. Don't betray a pumpkinhead or the puppets. And don't burn the American flag. That should be a no-brainer, but these kids didn't know that. See you on the next one.
Also, you know, if you've done enough horror movies, dancing around in the graveyard almost never works out well. Okay, I'm just throwing it out.
No, it does not. No, it does not. Ciao.